Have you ever stopped to wonder what you actually are? I don't mean your body, your name, or your job. I mean the asterisk. You, asterisk. That's experiencing this very moment. The voice inside your head, the feeling of watching this video, the awareness of your own existence. That, my friends, is consciousness, and it's arguably the biggest mystery in the entire universe. For centuries, we've asked the question, is consciousness just a complex biological process, a clever trick of our neurons firing, or is it something much, much deeper? Let's start with the scientific perspective. The dominant view in neuroscience is that consciousness is an emergent property of the brain. Think of it like a symphony. A single violin note isn't the symphony. A drum beat isn't the symphony. But when you get tens of thousands of musicians, or in lowercase, 86 billion neurons all playing together, interacting in an incredibly complex and synchronized way, something new and beautiful emerges. The music. From this viewpoint, consciousness is the music of our brain. Neuroscientists can even point to specific areas, like the claustrum or the thalamocortical network, that seem to act as conductors for this neural orchestra. They can show how different brain states, like being awake, dreaming, or under anesthesia, correspond to different patterns of brain activity. When the brain's activity changes, our conscious experience changes with it. Damage to certain parts of the brain can profoundly alter personality, memory, and even the sense of self. This all points to a strong link between our physical brain and our subjective experience. So, case closed. Consciousness is just what the brain does. Well, not so fast. This is where we run into what philosopher David Chalmers calls the hard problem of consciousness. The easy problems, which are still incredibly difficult, are about explaining how the brain processes information, directs behavior, and focuses attention. We can map those functions. But the hard problem is this. Asterisk. Why asterisk does any of that physical processing feel like anything at all? Why do we have subjective, qualitative experiences, what philosophers call qualia? Why does the color red look asterisk? Red asterisk. Why does chocolate taste sweet? And why does pain feel hurtful? Why aren't we just biological robots? Or philosophical zombies that process all this information and react to it without any inner experience? The biological model doesn't fully answer the why. It describes the correlation when this part of the brain lights up. You feel happy, but it doesn't explain how a bunch of electrical signals and chemical reactions can create the rich inner world we all inhabit. It's like describing every single note and instrument in the symphony, but still not being able to explain the feeling of awe it inspires in the listener. This gap in our understanding has opened the door to some truly mind-bending alternative theories. One of the most fascinating is the idea of Now, stay with me here, because it's a wild ride. Panpsychism proposes that consciousness isn't something that arises only in complex brains. Instead, it's a fundamental and ubiquitous feature of the universe, just like mass or charge. According to this view, everything from an electron to a rock to a star has some rudimentary form of consciousness or Now, that doesn't mean your water bottle is pondering its existence. The idea is that individual particles have an incredibly simple, basic form of experience. But when these particles combine into more and more complex systems, like a brain, their simple consciousness also combines to create the rich, complex consciousness that we experience. It's a radical idea, but it elegantly solves the hard problem. Consciousness isn't something that mysteriously pops into existence out of non-conscious matter. It's been there all along, in a very basic form. We aren't creating consciousness from scratch. Our brains are just incredibly sophisticated amplifiers and integrators of a fundamental property of reality. Think of it like gravity. A single atom has a minuscule gravitational pull, but bring enough atoms together to form a planet, and you get a powerful gravitational field. In the same way, perhaps individual bits of matter have a minuscule bit of mind stuff, and our brains are the cosmic equivalent of a planet. Then there are theories that connect consciousness to the bizarre world of quantum mechanics. The orchestrated objective reduction, or ORCO, our theory, proposed by Sir Roger Penrose and Stuart Hammond, suggests that consciousness arises from quantum processes occurring inside our neurons. Specifically, they point to tiny structures called microtubules, which form the cytoskeleton of the cell. They theorize that quantum computations happen within these microtubules, and when a certain threshold is reached, this quantum state collapses, creating a moment of conscious experience. According to this view, each conscious moment is a discrete event, a collapse of a quantum wave function. This ties the mystery of consciousness to one of the other great mysteries of physics: why and how the quantum world of probabilities transitions into the definite, classical world we observe. It suggests our brains are essentially quantum computers, and our awareness is a bridge between the quantum and classical realms. While highly speculative and not widely accepted by mainstream neuroscientists, it's a powerful and thought-provoking idea that tries to find a home for consciousness within the fundamental laws of physics. It implies our consciousness is not just an accident of biology, but is woven into the very fabric of space. And of course, for millennia, spiritual and philosophical traditions have offered their own answers. Many of these traditions propose that consciousness is not generated by the brain at all. Instead, they see the brain as a receiver, an antenna, or a filter. In T's model, there is a universal consciousness, a cosmic mind, and our individual brains are like radios, tuning into a specific frequency of that universal broadcast. Our sense of being a separate self is an illusion created by the limitations of our biological receiver. This perspective is found in various forms in traditions like Advaita Vedanta in Hinduism, which posits a single, universal consciousness called Brahman, and in many forms of Buddhism. It suggests that through practices like meditation, it's possible to quiet the static of our individual minds and experience this underlying, unified consciousness directly. This would mean that consciousness isn't something we have asterisk, it's something we are asterisk part of. Our death wouldn't be the end of consciousness, but merely the breaking of the receiver. The broadcast continues. This view resonates with the accounts of many who have had near-death experiences or profound mystical states, who often report a sense of oneness with everything and a dissolution of their individual ego. So, where does that leave us? Are we a biological symphony, an amplifier for a conscious universe, a quantum computer, or a radio tuning into a cosmic broadcast? The honest answer is, we don't know. Each of these theories offers a compelling lens through which to view the mystery, but none has been definitively proven. What is clear is that the question, what is consciousness, pushes the boundaries of science, philosophy, and our own self-perception. It's a question that might not have a single, simple answer. Perhaps consciousness is a multifaceted phenomenon, and each of these perspectives holds a piece of the puzzle. The search for the nature of consciousness is, in many ways, the search for ourselves. It's a journey that forces us to be humble in the face of the vast unknown. And maybe, just maybe, the most profound truth is the one you can experience right now. The simple, undeniable, and miraculous fact that you are aware, that you are here, experiencing the universe. That in itself is an extraordinary mystery worth contemplating. Well, in the bizarre world of quantum mechanics, it's not just a feeling, it's a fundamental principle. Today, we dive in deep into one of the most mind-bending questions in all of science. Does the very act of observation shape quantum reality? Let's start with the star of our show, the double-slit experiment. Imagine firing tiny particles, like electrons, at a screen with two narrow slits in it. Behind this screen is a detector wall that shows where the electrons land. Now, if you fire these electrons one by one, and you don't watch which slit they go through, something magical happens. They don't just create two bands on the detector wall, as you'd expect from tiny bullets. Instead, they create an interference pattern, a series of multiple bands, just like waves would if they passed through the slits and interfered with each other. This means each single electron somehow behaves like a wave, passes through both slits at once, and interferes with itself. Wild, right? But here's where it gets really strange. What happens if we decide to watch? If we place a detector at the slits to see which one each electron goes through, the wave behavior vanishes. Poof! Gone. The interference pattern disappears, and we're left with just two simple bands, exactly where we'd expect them if the electrons were behaving like normal particles. It is as if the electrons knew they were being watched and decided to act normal. The very act of measuring, of observing, forced the electron to choose a path, collapsing its wave of possibilities into a single, definite reality. This is the heart of the observer effect in quantum mechanics. It's not about a conscious human staring at an experiment. Observation in this context is any interaction with the quantum system. It could be a photon bouncing off the electron, a magnetic field, or any device designed to measure its properties. The moment you interact with the quantum system to gain information about it, like its position or path, you inevitably disturb it. This interaction forces the system to snap out of its blurry, probabilistic wave. State what physicists call a superposition, and settle into one definite state. So, does this mean our consciousness is shaping the universe? This is where we step from physics into philosophy. The Copenhagen interpretation, one of the oldest and most widely taught views, suggests that reality is inherently probabilistic. A particle doesn't have a definite position until it's measured. The act of measurement collapses this cloud of possibilities into a single, concrete outcome. In this view, observation isn't just revealing reality, it's actively participating in its creation. But not everyone is comfortable with this idea. Albert Einstein famously disliked it, arguing, "I like to think the moon is there even if I am not looking at it." He believed there must be some hidden variables that we just can't see, which determine the outcome beforehand. It's like flipping a coin. We think it's random, but if you knew the exact force, spin, and air currents, you could predict the outcome. Einstein thought quantum mechanics was incomplete, and there was a deeper, more deterministic reality underneath. For decades, this was a philosophical debate. But then, a physicist named John Bell came up with a theorem that could actually test it. Experiments based on Bell's theorem have been performed many times, and the results are stunning. They have consistently shown that Einstein's hidden variables, at least local ones, can't be the answer. The universe hontoni is as strange as the Copenhagen interpretation suggests. The correlations between entangled particles are stronger than any classical, deterministic theory would allow. It seems that reality at the quantum level is non-local and probabilistic. So, where does that leave us? Let's explore some other fascinating interpretations. One of the most captivating is the many worlds interpretation, proposed by Hugh Everett III. This theory says that there's no collapse of the wave function at all. Instead, every time a quantum measurement is made, the universe splits. In one universe, the electron went through the left slit. In another, identical universe, it went through the right. Every possible outcome of a quantum event happens, each in its own separate, parallel universe. So, when you observe the electron, you're not collapsing its reality. You're just finding out which branch of reality you happen to be in. In this view, you are also split, with one version of you seeing one outcome, and another version seeing the other. Then there's the de Broglie-Bohm theory, also known as pilot wave theory. This interpretation is fully deterministic. It suggests that particles do have definite positions at all times, but they are guided by a pilot wave. This wave passes through both slits and creates the interference pattern, guiding the particle to its final destination. When we don't measure, the particle is free to follow the complex path dictated by its pilot wave. But when we do measure, our measurement device interacts with the pilot wave, altering it in such a way that the particle's path changes, destroying the interference pattern. In this view, observation still changes the outcome, but it does so in a more classical, physical way, without any spooky collapse. It's a lot to take in, isn't it? From a reality that snaps into existence upon observation, to an infinite number of parallel universes, to a hidden pilot wave guiding everything. What's incredible is that all these interpretations are mathematically consistent with the results of our experiments. Physics can tell us asterisk. What asterisk will happen with incredible accuracy? But at CAUN definitively tell us asterisk. Why asterisk? Or asterisk? How asterisk it happens in the way it does. The choice of interpretation is, for now, more a matter of philosophical preference than scientific fact. So, to answer our big question, does the act of observation shape quantum reality? The answer is a resounding and slightly baffling yes. Every major interpretation with this, though they disagree on the mechanism. The interaction required for measurement is not a passive peek behind the curtain. It is an active, unavoidable, and reality-altering process. This doesn't mean you can wish for a new car and make it appear. The observer effect is significant only at the incredibly small, fragile quantum scale. In our large, everyday world, the effects are so minuscule they're completely unnoticeable. But the philosophical implications are profound. It challenges our classical intuition about an objective reality that exists independently of us. It suggests that the universe, at its most fundamental level, is a participatory one. We are not just spectators watching the cosmic play. We are part of the performance. The line between the observer and the observed is beautifully, and perhaps permanently, blurred. What do you think? Are we co-creators of our reality? Or are we just discovering which of the infinite parallel universes we landed in? For centuries, we've treated the world of our thoughts, feelings, and consciousness as something entirely separate from the physical world of atoms, stars, and galaxies, the world of matter. But what if that separation is just an illusion? What if mind and matter are not two different things, but two sides of the same coin, governed by the same fundamental laws? This is one of the most profound questions we can ask. And today, we're diving deep into the science, philosophy, and mysteries that connect our inner world with the universe outside. Let's start with a journey back in time, to the 17th century. The philosopher, René Descartes, famously split the world into two distinct substances. Asterisk. Res cogitans. Asterisk, the thinking stuff, our minds, and asterisk, res extensa. Asterisk, the extended, physical stuff, our bodies and the world around us. This idea, known as dualism, has shaped Western thought for hundreds of years. It's intuitive, right? A thought doesn't seem to have weight or take up space like a rock does. But this clean split created a huge problem that has puzzled thinkers ever since. The mind-body problem. If they are completely separate, how does your decision to raise your hand a mental event cause your physical hand to actually move? How does a physical event, like stubbing your toe, cause the mental experience of pain? There seems to be a constant, seamless interaction, which dualism struggles to explain. This puzzle has pushed scientists and philosophers to look for a more unified picture. Now, let us fast forward to the early 20th century and the birth of a revolutionary new science. Quantum mechanics. At the subatomic level, the solid, predictable world of classical physics dissolves into a strange, ghostly realm of probabilities and uncertainties. One of the most mind-bending discoveries was the observer effect. In the famous double-slit experiment, particles like electrons behave as spread-out waves when they aren't being watched. But the moment you try to measure or observe which slit the particle goes through, it instantly collapses from a wave of possibilities into a single, definite particle at a specific location. It's as if the universe behaves differently when we look at it. This led some early pioneers of quantum physics, like Erwin Schrödinger and Werner Heisenberg, to wonder if consciousness itself played a fundamental role in reality. Could the act of observation, a mental process, be the very thing that turns quantum potential into physical reality? This idea, though controversial, opens a fascinating door. It suggests that consciousness isn't just a passive spectator but an active participant in the creation of the physical world. The universe might not be a pre-written movie we're just watching. It might be an interactive story we are co-authoring with every conscious moment. Think about that for a second. The very act of looking at something could be what makes it real. But the connections don't stop at the quantum level. Let's look at our own biology. Your brain, the 3-pound organ sitting in your skull, is the most complex object we know of in the universe. It's made of metaneurons, synapses, chemicals, yet, somehow, this intricate web of physical matter generates the non-physical experience of consciousness, the redness of a sunset, the taste of chocolate, the feeling of love. This is often called the hard problem of consciousness. How does the gray matter of the brain produce the technicolor of subjective experience? Neuroscience has shown us incredible correlations. Specific patterns of neural firing correspond to specific thoughts and feelings. We can see the brain light up on an fMRI scan when someone feels joy or solves a math problem. The placebo effect is another powerful example. A person can take a sugar pill, believing it's a powerful medicine, and their physical symptoms can actually improve. The belief, a mental state, directly causes a physiological change in the body, a material state. This shows a deep, undeniable entanglement between our minds and our biology. They aren't just communicating. They seem to be operating as a single, integrated system. So, where does this leave us? Is there a unifying law? Some modern theories propose that information might be the fundamental building block of the universe, more basic than both matter and mind. Think of it like this. A computer file is made of bits of information, O south and 1 south. That information can be represented physically on a hard drive, but it can also be experienced as a picture or a piece of music on your screen. The information itself is the primary reality. In this view, both a particle and a thought are fundamentally patterns of information. The universe, in this sense, might be a giant information processing system, and our consciousness is the way a part of that system experiences itself. This idea, called digital physics, or it from bit, suggests that mind and matter emerge from the same informational source code. Another fascinating perspective comes from ancient wisdom traditions. Many Eastern philosophies, like Buddhism and Vedanta, have long taught the concept of non. They propose that the separation we perceive between ourselves and the universe, between mind and matter, is an illusion created by our own minds. The ultimate reality is a single, unified field of consciousness, and everything we see, trees, our own bodies, and our thoughts are just temporary ripples or modifications within this one consciousness. From this viewpoint, it's not that mind and matter are connected. It's that they were never separate to begin with. It's a radical shift in perspective, suggesting that we are not just asterisk and asterisk the universe. We asterisk the universe experiencing itself. So, are mind and matter connected through the same fundamental laws? The evidence from quantum physics, neuroscience, and philosophy points towards a resounding yes. The old idea of a strict separation is crumbling. We are seeing that the observer and the observed, the inner world and the outer world, are deeply interwoven. Perhaps the fundamental law is one of information, of consciousness, or a principle we haven't even discovered yet. What we do know is that our thoughts are not isolated events. They are part of the fabric of reality. Your consciousness is not a ghost in a machine. It is an active, creative force in the cosmos. This understanding has profound implications for our lives. It means our focus, our intentions, and our beliefs have power. They don't just shape our mood. They may literally shape the world we experience. The placebo effect is just the tip of the iceberg. This is not about wishful thinking, but about recognizing the deep partnership between woman the Yesher and the physical universe. We are not just passive passengers on spaceship Earth. We are the co-pilots. The more we learn about this connection, the more we realize the incredible potential that lies within our own minds. The quest to understand this ultimate unity is perhaps the greatest adventure of science and the human spirit. It's a journey that takes us from the smallest particle to the largest cosmic structures, and ultimately leads us right back to the center of our own being. The universe is not just out there, it is also in here. A feeling that you're part of something much, much bigger than yourself. It's a universal human experience, one that poets, philosophers, and scientists have pondered for centuries. But what if that connection is more than just a feeling? What if the universe isn't just a silent, empty stage where life happens by chance? What if the universe itself is waking up? Through you, through me, through all of us. This might sound like something straight out of science fiction, but it is a concept that is gaining fascinating traction in some of the most advanced circles of scientific and philosophical thought. It is called the participatory universe, or sometimes linked to ideas of but a fundamental property of the universe itself, present in everything, from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy. Now, before we dive deep, let's be clear. We're not talking about the universe having a brain and thinking, I wonder what I'll do today. We're talking about a different kind of consciousness. Think of it like this. An atom doesn't have a brain, but it responds to forces. A plant doesn't have a brain, but it turns towards the sun. Could it be that consciousness exists on a spectrum? Perhaps the complex, self-aware consciousness we experience is simply a highly developed, high-resolution version of a basic awareness that permeates all of reality. The idea hinges on one of the weirdest and most wonderful parts of physics. Quantum mechanics. At the quantum level, the tiny building blocks of our reality behave in truly bizarre ways. A particle like an electron doesn't seem to have a definite location until we observe it. It exists in a cloud of probabilities, a superposition of all possible states at once. It's only when a conscious observer like a scientist with a detector, or even just your eyeball registering a photon of light interacts with it, that this cloud of possibilities collapses into a single later leady. This is the famous observer effect. The physicist, John Wheeler, a true giant in the field, took this idea a step further with his participatory anthropic principle. He suggested that the universe, through its entire history, exists in this state of potential, of countless possibilities. It's only when conscious observers like us emerge and look back, observing the cosmos, that we collapse the waveform of the universe's entire history, making it real. In his own poetic words, we are not just spectators on a cosmic stage. We are participants in the creation of the universe itself. Imagine a cosmic game of 20 questions. The universe presents a vast set of possibilities, and with every observation we make, every question we ask through our scientific experiments, we're forcing reality to give us a yes or no answer, shaping what it becomes. From this perspective, our consciousness isn't an accident. It's the mechanism through which the universe comes to know itself. We are the universe's sensory organs. We are the eyes through which the cosmos sees its own beauty, the minds through which it understands its own laws. Think about the sheer improbability of our existence, the physical constants of the universe, the strength of gravity. The charge of an electron are tuned with breathtaking precision. If any of these were even slightly different, stars wouldn't form, planets couldn't hold atmospheres, and life as we know it would be impossible. Some say this is just a lucky coincidence. We happen to be in the one universe where the numbers came up, right? But the participatory model offers a more elegant explanation. Perhaps the universe isn't just a set of fixed rules, but a self-organizing, self-actualizing system. It evolves, and part of that evolution is the development of consciousness, which in turn helps to define and realize the universe's own structure. It's a feedback loop of cosmic proportions. This idea also changes how we view our place in the world. If we are the universe experiencing itself, then every act of discovery, every piece of art created, every moment of wonder is the universe gaining a new piece of self. When a scientist deciphers a piece of the genetic code, it's the universe learning about its own blueprint for life. When an artist paints a sunset, it's the universe expressing its own splendor. When you look at your reflection, it's not just you looking back. It's a tiny fragment of the cosmos, becoming self-aware. This perspective imbues our lives with a profound sense of purpose. We are not random specks of dust in a cold, indifferent void. We are the growing edge of cosmic awareness. Our curiosity, our drive to explore and understand, isn't just a personal quirk. It's a cosmic imperative. It's the universe's own urge to wake up. So, what does this mean for our everyday lives? It means that paying attention is a sacred act. When you truly listen to a piece of music, or savor the taste of a meal, or feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, you are participating in the grand project of cosmic awareness. You are bringing a small corner of the universe into focus. It suggests that our connections to each other and to the natural world are not just sentimental, but fundamental. We are all connected because we are all expressions of the same underlying, unfolding consciousness. Of course, this is still a frontier of thought. We don't have definitive proof, but it's a powerful and beautiful idea that reframes our entire existence. It transforms the universe from a cold, mechanical machine into a living, breathing, evolving entity that is slowly, over billions of years, coming to know itself. And the most incredible part, it's doing it through us. The awe you feel looking at the stars might just be the universe feeling awe at itself. Next time you find yourself gazing at the world in wonder, remember it is. You are not just an observer. You are a participant. You are a vital, irreplaceable piece of the puzzle, a nerve ending of the cosmos, a point of light through which the universe itself becomes aware. It's a question that has captivated thinkers for millennia. But what's fascinating is that today, three seemingly separate fields, quantum physics, modern neuroscience, and ancient Eastern philosophy, are all pointing towards a strikingly similar answer. Let's dive in and explore this incredible convergence. First, let's look at the world of the very, very small. Quantum physics. For over a century, physicists have been grappling with a mind-bending reality. At the subatomic level, particles like electrons don't exist in one definite place until they are observed. They exist in a cloud of probabilities, a wave of potential. This is called superposition. It is only when an active measurement or observation occurs that this wave collapses into a single, concrete particle. Think about that. The very act of observing affects reality. The renowned physicist John Wheeler even coined the term participatory universe, suggesting that we're not just passive onlookers but active participants in creating the reality we experience. He famously said, "No phenomenon is a real phenomenon until it is an observed phenomenon." This isn't just a quirky theory. It's the foundation of how everything from your phone to medical imaging works. So, physics tells us that consciousness, the act of awareness itself, is fundamentally linked to the fabric of reality. It's not separate from the universe. It's an integral part of how it unfolds. Now, let's zoom from the quantum realm into the intricate wiring of our own brains with neuroscience. For a long time, scientists searched for a seat of consciousness, a specific spot in the brain where the you lives. But after decades of searching, they haven't found it. Instead, they've found something far more interesting. Consciousness doesn't seem to be produced by any single part of the brain. Rather, it appears to be a global property of the brain's network, an integrated field of information. Neuroscientists like Julio Tononi have developed what's called integrated information theory. It proposes that consciousness is a measure of a system's ability to integrate information. The more complex and unified the information processing, the higher the level of consciousness. Your brain is a master at this. It takes in sights, sounds, smells, and thoughts, and seamlessly weaves them into a single, unified experience to your reality. From this perspective, awareness isn't a asterisk thing. Asterisk the brain asterisk makes asterisk. It's what the brain asterisk does. Asterisk, it's the process of integration itself. So, neuroscience suggests awareness is a unified field of experience, not a localized object. And this is where things get really interesting. Because for thousands of years, Eastern philosophies like Buddhism, Taoism, and Advaita Vedanta have been saying something remarkably similar. These traditions have long taught that our individual sense of self, the ego, the I, is an illusion. They propose that our true nature is a vast, boundless awareness, a pure consciousness that is the source of all experience. In many Eastern traditions, this fundamental awareness is often compared to a mirror or the open sky. The sky remains unchanged, whether the clouds are dark and stormy or white and fluffy. The mirror reflects whatever is in front of it, a beautiful flower or a piece of trash, without becoming the object it reflects. Similarly, they teach that our pure awareness is the silent, unchanging witness to all of our thoughts, emotions, and sensations. These things pass through us like clouds in the sky, but our fundamental nature, our awareness, remains pristine and untouched. The goal of practices like meditation isn't to stop thoughts, but to realize that you are the space in which the thoughts are happening. So, let's connect the dots. Quantum physics suggests that the universe is participatory, and that observation is key to reality. It points to a reality that isn't solid and fixed, but is potentiality brought into being through observation. Neuroscience shows us that consciousness isn't a localized thing, but a unified, integrated field of information within our brains. It's the space where our experience happens. And Eastern philosophy has been teaching for millennia that our true self is not our body or our thoughts, but the boundless, empty awareness in which all experience arises. See the pattern. All three point away from the idea of a separate, isolated self and towards the idea of awareness as a fundamental, unifying field. Physics sees it at the subatomic level. Neuroscience sees it in the architecture of our brain. And Eastern philosophy has explored it through introspection for centuries. It's as if they are all describing the same mountain from different sides. What does this mean for you and me in our daily lives? It's a profound invitation. It suggests that you are not just a small, fragile being navigating a cold, indifferent universe. You are something much grander. You are the awareness that experiences the universe. When you feel anxious, you are the calm space in which the anxiety is happening. When you feel joyful, you are the silent field that holds that joy. This understanding can completely change your relationship with your own mind. Instead of being carried away by every thought and emotion, you can learn to rest as the awareness behind them. This is the essence of mindfulness and meditation. It's not about emptying your mind, but about recognizing the ever-present space of awareness that is already there, always peaceful, always whole. You are the sky, not the clouds. So, the next time you look up at the stars or simply notice your own breath, remember this incredible convergence. Science and ancient wisdom are shaking hands, telling us that the awareness you are using to watch this video right now is not just some random byproduct of your brain. It is the field in which the universe itself is known. It's the ultimate mystery, and it's the closest thing to you there is. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the nature of awareness. If this sparked something in you, please hit that like button, subscribe for more explorations like this, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Until next time, stay curious.